Winston Goodfellow here, standing by a longtime friend, Bruce Milner. Bruce owns this. This is the last Jensen CV8 MkIII, which Bruce thinks looks really cool, correct?
I believe it's cool and very different.
Yeah, very different.
All in the eye of the beholder.
Yes. Anyhow, this is a restoration story you won't believe. So, Bruce, how did you find this?
Well, I found it in Minnesota. It was sold to me by a guy we both know, of questionable reputation. I decided to restore it there, sight unseen, and the car disappeared during restoration after it was fully paid for. And then it was rediscovered by an Australian about 10 to 12 years later in a field in parts. And then it took about 10 years to do the restoration all over again.
So it was in restoration for 3 to 4 years? And
Well, maybe 2 years.
Okay, so it had been in restoration for like 2 years. And so you're constantly getting photos as restoration shots.
Oh, that's right. And it turned out that the photos I was getting was of another car owned by the guy that sold me the car. So they were restoring his cars and sending me photos saying it was my car. And then the restorer had a heart attack, he said, and then disappeared, and the car disappeared, and he looked without a trace. The car, both were gone. It went cold for 10 years. I didn't know where the car was, and I forgot about it because I had other projects. And then 10 years later, I got a call from a guy in Australia saying, I've just bought a CV8 and there's another one alongside it, and I'm told it's yours. And it was in a field without doors, without a hood.
Okay, hang on here a second. So time out. So you were having the car restored in the U.S. and then somehow it made its way to Australia?
No,
Okay.
no, it's twinned. The car I was getting pictures of made its way to Australia.
Got it.
And then the guy in Australia tracked me down and said, there's another car in the field, and I understand it's yours.
And so the field was located in the States, not Australia?
I was still in a field in Minnesota, 10 winters later.
So how would you like that? Here, we've been paying for a restoration for 2 to 3 years. Here are your photos, sir. Okay, let me see the car, please. Ah, I had a heart attack. Boom, the guy disappears, car disappears. A decade later, hey, I think I found your car. Oh, really? Where is it? Yeah, it's in a field, and there's a tree growing out of it, correct?
Yes, the engine and the transmission were separate from the car about 50 feet away. And going through the hood where the engine was like a 12-foot tree. So it had been there that long.
So Bruce and I go back quite a ways. Bruce you have quite a penchant for getting cars that are worth X, and then you restore them for 3 times X, because now that's friggin' passion.
Right, and then you sell it for 1/3 of what you put in.
So I've seen you do that before. But we also did okay on a handful.
Yes, we did fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have this thing, and then where did you take it, and what did they do?
Well, Streetworks, Matt Backhouse.
So Matt Backhouse of Streetworks Exotics.
Streetworks, and he introduced me through John Ling, who's also a common friend, and they restored a Lancia Flaminia Zagato for me, which we showed at Pebble Beach, and then so this car I got back in LA in pieces, and we shipped it back to
So it goes
Midwest.
from Minnesota to LA, back to Wisconsin,
Right.
to Streetworks Exotics.
And then it stayed there for, I don't know, maybe 7 years while we pieced it together. We had all the parts except the floors, and we had to borrow someone's CV8 to replicate the floors. And
So did you keep the tree that was growing out
no,
of the car?
the trees never made it to my possession.
Was the body just totally toast?
No,
how
the
rusty
body
was it? Or?
Well, no, it's a fiberglass body, so we had to do a new gel coat. The whole car had to be re-gel coated, and the floors.
Okay, but nothing fell on the body or anything like that.
No,
So,
no, and the
good.
chassis tubes were all fine. There was surface rust, but they were in good condition.
And then something that makes this, I can't necessarily say an easier restoration, but I'm going to use that terminology, is this has a Chrysler V8 in it,
Right.
rather than a proprietary engine.
Right.
So in this, like a Hemi, a 383?
383.
Okay. Yeah, and it's kind of an intriguing looking thing that was pretty advanced engineering for the time. I mean, not that many people were doing fiberglass bodies back then.
No, they were, yeah, apart from Daimler Darts, probably
Yeah, and then of course the Corvette.
Right.
Yeah, and that's about it.
Right.
But really intriguing GT car. How long was a CV8 made, and how many were made? Do you know?
They made 461. I forgot them, less than maybe 60 or 70 series Mark IIIs, and this is the very last car built. Yes, and it's also rare insofar as that it's an automatic, and I think there were 3 automatics made. Sorry, I beg your pardon. 3 left-hand drive cars made.
Got it. Yeah, so you have a rare piece here.
Yeah, the last, and also left-hand drive. Yeah.
This is the first time it's been shown after the restoration?
First time ever, yeah.
How'd you like to work, with Matt? What'd you think of working with the guys?
Matt was great. The whole team there was great, and he's here today with his other cars that he's restored. So nothing but good things to say about Matt and his crew.
Cool. So, you want a good piece of weirdness? Jensen CV8. Thanks, bud.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, you got it.
Okay.